In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hey, you gumpers, Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Good Morning Portugal live stream. Hola, bom dia, alegria, tudo bem, como estás? Let us know in the comments, please. Matty in first this morning. Hola, bom dia, alegria from him a todos. Feliz terça-feira para todos e que o fim de semana seja próximo. Okay, so he's already feeling the weekend. It's Tuesday, Matty. But there you go. If the Good Morning Portugal live stream, if the show makes you feel like it's the weekend, our work is done here. But we will do the rest of the show. Talking of which, the rest of the show looks like this on Consumer Tuesday, folks. We'll have a look at the business type news in the English-speaking papers. I was in one of those, that I'm going to put the link to that. Somebody very kindly asked about my appearance in the sounds sort of messianic, doesn't it? The appearance in the Portugal news from last Friday. The publication in question, the specific edition, the link for which is now in the chat. And I'm on page 12, not too deep in the detail there, not too bad, page 12. But a really lovely piece put together by Ivan Schmader. Ivan Schmader, she of the Relish magazine. So thank you very much, Ivan, for doing that. Really nice piece. Thank you, Portugal News, for featuring it. It's often interesting, I don't know if it's a rivalry, but the relationship between media, between print and radio. You don't often see much about radio in the newspapers, do you? I consider this within the radio domain. So very good of them to even go here, to even touch this, as MC Hammer would say. So really, thanks very much, Ivan. Thank you, Portugal News, for that. I'll come back to your esteemed publication in a little while when we look for consumer news this morning. We will have Nuno Mendes from Winsurance joining us at around 9 to talk about the new D7 insurance product. That does have people getting their knickers in a twist, their panties in a bunch, whilst trying to get a health insurance to come over for D7 purposes. And he's nailed it with a product, a service to help with that. So he'll be talking about his, what do we call it today? Incoming. This is, I think, the name of it. Incoming and Welcome is the name of that particular D7 insurance product, should you need it. And of course, he covers the whole range of insurance products and services for you. If you want to talk to him about anything to do with insurance here on Consumer Tuesday on the Good Morning Portugal live stream, please do that from around 9. And at 9:30, ahead of Sarah Davey from Spartan FX, she sent this picture in. Isn't that fantastic? Is anyone doing anything like this in Portugal? She asks. More about this later on. Actually, just one more before we go somewhere. Look at that. That deer feasting on a few seeds at the bottom of your garden. I don't think this is Portugal, but we'll find out from Sarah when she's here at 9:30. And has anybody set up a cam of any kind in their garden where anyone else could just tune in to a wildlife cam? I think we need a bit of that at the moment. Oh, and of course, while we're in the picture deck, let's do a quick weather check. Before we go there, let's have a look at this man. He's back with us tomorrow with the Doc. So a Doc and a Doug tomorrow here on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Dougie's in celebrating, or the baton is being handed to him by the Doc. So we'll have a Doug on the second Wednesday, Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. And of course, we'll keep the Doc on the fourth Wednesday of the month as well, but they'll be in the same room together, virtually speaking. What could possibly go wrong? As they are quite at opposite ends of the political spectrum. Tune in for some of that tomorrow. And look at this. Let me just find out where Steve is exactly. Minnesota. We're not any more specific than that, but you get the picture here. Winter marches on here in Minnesota. You think it's cold in Portugal, folks? You you softies who are here now. Thought I'd share this picture in my backyard with the GMP community. A glimpse of late winter in Minnesota. Look at that. That's some proper snow there, isn't it? Be careful on those stairs. Oh, and actually, yeah, while we're in the picture area, this guy, even with his mask on, I think we're familiar with this shot now of him jetting back and forth from the UK to Portugal. But the reason I share it is because we were talked to yesterday, of course, didn't we, to Gilda about Mandela. We'll keep in touch with Mandela's very delicate stomach situation. A naughty little thing Mandela is, Gilda Pereira's dog, of course. But there are a few pooches and pussies in this community as well that we like to celebrate. Alpha is one of them. And if I do this, I need that shot just a little bit lower of Alpha there. But you know what they say about dogs and their owners? See what I mean? It's quite a resemblance there, isn't there? But you can't see his jowly face under that mask. So there are some benefits to wearing a mask there. Morning, Andy. How are you doing? And of course, on a serious note, it is International Women's Day today. Thank you to Pam for this as well. Let me just see what Pam has to say about this, because I'm not going to try and translate this for fear of getting it wrong. Pam, where are you here on my bulging WhatsApp application here? I'm going to have to actually search for you. Scrolling, it doesn't work anymore. You've got to search with the sheer weight of correspondence here. So International Women's Day today, of course, and this is a walk in Alcobaça to commemorate women who are victims of domestic violence. Isn't it sad that we have to do that? And I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, because obviously it's good to honor people who've been hurt in this way. And it's 8th of March, of course, International Women's Day today. Teatro de Transformación. Let's hope we can involve ourselves in the sort of transformation that means that women aren't hurt in this way, and it's not thought to be an okay thing to do. I mean, that's what I want to say about it. Basically, I want to go all sort of bad cop like Russell Crowe in what's that film? LA Confidential, where he sees a domestic abuser through the window. I think he's off duty, and he snaps and he just handcuffs. This is my instinctive response to such behavior among men. Handcuff them to the radiator, suggest that the woman removes herself from that situation, then punch him in the face a few times. I know it's not like me at all, is it? Punch him in the face a few times, maybe a kick as well, and then get the cops to come and pick him up from there and bang him up for a little while. Now, clearly, that's just an emotional outburst, and there's something that needs to be done about this, isn't there? It's not okay. And men in that situation, I suppose the intelligent and sensible thing to do is it's about education, isn't it? And I mean, I hesitate in saying, it's not okay, because everyone knows that, don't they? But clearly they don't, because this persists. It's not okay. It needs to stop, and education is needed. So as well as honoring those who've been hurt, let's have some education to show that men and young men that this is not okay. This is really not okay. If you think of doing that, if you do it, you need some help, my friend, and you need help fast for the good of everybody. So you're not doing that to the women in your life, and so that your children don't have to see such things, because I think that's how the cycle persists. So on that note, I mean, is it the right thing to say Happy International Women's Day? I mean, I'm sure this is just one aspect of International Women's Day, rather than how the whole thing should be framed. So Happy International Women's Day. And is this the hashtag that goes with it? Forgive me, I don't know a lot about this. Hashtag break the bias. Are we talking about the same sort of thing here? Because I did see a pay disparity article, I think either in the Portugal Resident or in the Portugal News. Tell me more. Tell me more about what you think about this. Instead of Today in Portuguese History, we have our occasional series, and this feels like it should have some jazz music as well, some incidental music. Our occasional series, The Origins of Portugal. And we go to the cave of Aroeira. That's what the skeleton is in the picture from yesterday. Thank you, Prof. The learned Prof for this, Prof Eusebio. Gruta to Aroeira, 400,000 BC. It's quite a long time ago. I don't think anyone in this community, I mean, there's a few knocking on a bit here, but no one remembers that here. And if you do, it must be from a past life regression. If you want to tell us about your past life regression experiences, please do so in the chat. So there you go. We're going to the cave of Aroera. Not that same Aroera, I don't think, where I lived. I didn't see mention of it. Typically in Portugal, place names come up, around the country. A different Aroera, I think. And in 1987, we'll come back to Messrs. Wright and Carlin. Thank you, T-Duck, for those, and bon dia to you, Gompa Nation. But in 1987, a cave near the village of Almonda, Santarém region, okay, we're off to Santarém, everybody, this morning, was investigated by archaeologists and led to the discovery of human teeth. The teeth fit morphologically. My teeth feel a bit morphological, I have to say, as I get older, as in they're changing and moving and being wobbly. But that's not what is meant here. The teeth fit morphologically within the European Middle Pleistocene period. No, I'm not going to go there. Middle Ice Age, which saw the emergence of Homo heidelbergensis. I hadn't heard of Homo heidelbergensis either. And I'm just going to go on trust that these facts are correct. And why wouldn't they be from Prof. Eusebio? But I'm guessing that somebody called Heidelberg discovered or came up with a hypothesis about this particular stage of human development, right? And is that Homo heidelbergensis in the picture there, I wonder? In 2014, fast forward, and it's not long, is it, in the scheme of things? We're talking about a long, long time ago, and we're only going from 1987 to 2014. But anyway, long time in our lives, isn't it? Yeah, life is short, but it's the longest thing you'll ever do. In 2014, a large international research team directed by the Portuguese archaeologist João Gillião found the oldest fossil. Again, please, no jokes. This is the serious matter of the origins of Portugal. Okay, so no sniggering, please, no giggling about oldest fossils and Pleistocene. So João Gillião found the oldest fossil human skull in Portugal. And the skull, guess what? Discovered in the cave of Aroera in Portugal, is dated to 400,000 years ago and appeared with abundant faunal remains and stone tools. And a telephone. They died whilst on hold, ringing up EDP. Only kidding. No. They were found with abundant faunal remains. Plants, right? No, animals. Animals around them. Was it some sort of sacrifice or was it dinner? Did they have a heart attack at dinner time? Sounds like I'm putting the pieces together here, just like João Gillião must have done. So what's your theory on this? Because, this is all very hypothetical, obviously, isn't it? I mean, we've got a few bits to go on, so to speak. Unlike the policemen who had their toilet stolen from the police station. They had nothing to go on. But João, I should have played the dad joke. I didn't know this was going to happen. Honestly, I didn't know this was going to happen this morning. Seriously now, 400,000 years ago, there were abundant faunal remains. So it could be dinner, could be pets, could be livestock. And stone tools, could have been an abattoir, couldn't it? Including numerous bifaced hand axes. I'm thinking it might have been ceremonial or livestock husbandry going on in this situation. Other species identified include deer and equids. That's amazing. Second appearance of deer this morning on the show. Deer and equids. Equids, of course, are horse variants, but also rhinoceroses, bear, as well as large bovids related to the bison, a caprid, a goat antelope, and a testudo tortoise. Now, and that sounds like a Ferrari, doesn't it? The Ferrari testudo. I don't think that would have been an especially fast tortoises because what we know of tortoises is they're not. But 400,000 years ago, maybe they were. And maybe they just learned to chill the hell out in 400,000 years. I don't know. I don't know what testudo means, but it's all very good and interesting. Thank you very much, Prof. Eusebio, for that. The skull was restored over a period of 2 years and can be seen. You can go see that skull that Prof has in his YouTube profile pic at the Museu Nacional de Arqueologia in Lisboa. Amazing. Thank you very much. The origins of Portugal. And I feel like I should have some wafty kind of scientific music playing in the background, or Jean-Michel Jarre. You know, the sort of music they used to play in the 70s when they talked about science? It would all be very futuristic with some synthesizers in it, wouldn't it? Anyone got that? Warren! Hola, Gumpers from Baldilocks this morning. Joao F's in as well. Hello, mate. And Raj is here too. What's this? Joao F. Good morning to Prof. What a good start today. I learned a lot I didn't know. In fact, through the Gumpers comments, I keep learning interesting things about Portugal. Same here. Chris Smith, I think, might have enjoyed that. Morning, Chris. How are you? With the morning all. Chris, I think, has been working on a few erotic novel entries privately, which is probably the best place for them, let's be honest, but might venture a few this morning. He's easing his way into the community. That in itself is an erotic novel entry. Bon dia, Carl, from a dry, nice Belfast, but a very bad few days ahead. Yes, we've just come out of a weather warning, severe weather warning here in Portugal. So wind right until the start of next week. Going to do a tidy up of the garden today and then watch it all blow away tomorrow. Yes, keep up the good work. Like button. I'm like, yeah. Okay, hit that like button, everybody. Thank you very much, Chris Smith, for setting that up. That's beautiful. In capital letters, do it. Whilst the keeper of the likes is not here, Chris is in that territory, urging you to hit the like button. I don't actually know what happens when you do that, but let's do it anyway. Why don't we? Or any kind, because I'm sure good and bad news is welcome. That's how it is for humans, isn't it? So I'm sure if you push the angry button or the crying button or any of the emojis, it will help the algorithms, because Facebook will be thinking, ooh, a situation. And who doesn't like a situation in the morning? I'm very happy if I can find you something interesting that you did not know. And good to know we had a primo 400,000 years ago. What does that mean? Or is that like a relative? That's what keeps me. That's what keeps happening to me. I even believe that if I want rain and wind, I just have to work in the garden the day before. Oh yeah, to Deagle and his rain-making capabilities. It's true, isn't it? Or wash the car, those sorts of things. Hang the laundry out, or put it in the not put it in the tumble dryer, because that doesn't have the same effect, does it? But it does help with curb appeal. Bon dia, Dio. What's happening here? Carla Doros, Portuguese speakers. Are the articles O and Ush correct? I'm not sure they are there, but I'm sure you will be helped with that. James is here. Yeah, the rain dance is washing your car. There you go. Baddie is here as well. Good vibes for the Gumpers from the Baddie there. And Brian Taylor is in as well. How do you make rice less carby is my personal question to Brian this morning. Another quote of the day: the human intellect is a place where hesitation and uncertainty take root. There is no way to overcome this hesitation except by falling in love. Oh, yes, I will agree with that. And I nearly forgot, didn't I? Wright and Carlin. Let's go back to those before they disappear into the pile. That is the comments here. And we're going to have to do something, aren't we, folks, to make sure comments get read. And it's not working at the moment. So I don't know any capital letters, or I need @Carl or something like that, just so that I know that you're not talking to each other and I read every. I mean, it's a habit of mine to want to complete and read everything out. I don't think it's going to happen as we make our way into a bigger and bigger audience here. But I'll do my best, and I'll need your help as well with good suggestions on that. Stephen Wright, 24 hours in a day, 24 beers in a case. Coincidence? T-Duck, thanks for this as well. George Carlin quote of the day: I don't own any stocks or bonds. All my money is is tied up in debt. Very good. And so, yeah, let's get to a bit of consumer news. 10 minutes to go, and we'll have Nuno joining us from Winsurance with this new incoming and welcome insurance product here on Consumer Tuesday. Lots of interesting stuff for you consumer-wise. I mean, from your point of view, are there any businesses you want to shout out or say hello to or support here live on the Good Morning Portugal show? Please do that. I would like to shout out to Nelson, and I forgot his name there, Nelson at Cafe Palmeira, one of my favorite cafes in Portugal, because of its all-rounder, all seasons contribution to the community here in San Martinho de Porto. Did I say that? It is also the venue for this. Look, the Silver Coast Weekly Meetup. Roughly speaking, and let's be a bit Portuguese about this, between 1 and 3 on a Wednesday afternoon, okay, there is a meetup. Anyone welcome, not just expats. We want Portuguese people to come along and say hi as well. You know how we roll here. We don't want to be exclusively expat. because you might as well have stayed at home if you only mix with people of your own origin, right? So here we go, weekly meetup, Silver Coast, and this is a template for other similar groups. If you want to some help on how to put something together like this. I mean, if you need help, I wouldn't have thought you needed any help, but if you want some help on the technology front, I've made a WhatsApp group, and if you want me to, I will put the link to that in the chat and the comments. But Wednesdays 1 till 3, and see what I've put there. This view, this community, the Expats Portugal Silver Coast meetup. How about that? Wednesday afternoons between 1 and 3. I'll do my best to be there most Wednesdays. Otherwise, we'll have a deputy of some kind, but I think it'll have its own momentum, and you will be able to tell. I think we'll have to have somebody whistling the theme tune, so that you know you're in the right place. Can you imagine if you sat with a group of people for 2 hours and it turns out they're nothing to do with us, but you've made some new friends anyway? Maybe that's not such a bad idea. But Cafe Palmera is my favored option for that. Shout out to Nelson. Any other good cafes or restaurant recommendations here on Consumer Tuesday? Last week was a busy one for me, but back now and hoping to get to Portugal later this month. Well, good luck with that. Heart connection, soul connection, laughter, light, humanity. Yes, again, our work here is done. If that's how we can roll, moment to moment, day to day, that's a pretty good aspiration and reality for us, isn't it? Hola, bon dia, kids. How's everyone doing from Victoria down in the south? And who would be Portugal's top women, being International Women's Day today? I'll ask Nunu that in just a moment. I'll give him a bit of time to look that up in case he wants to do a bit of quick research. So on International Women's Day, top Portuguese women who we might honour and name today. Bon dia to the rest of you. Now I can no longer keep up with all of you at the same time. Yeah, indeed. That's what it gets down to. Hello, everybody. Catch-all. Olá, bom dia. As minhas gente. I dreamt in Portuguese last night. I'll get you, Rebel Mama. And Spanish. Oh, you want to worry, or not worry, or be very proud of yourself. When you dream in a language you don't even know, that's not to undermine your achievement there. Forgive me. That is amazing. But if you do start dreaming in Serbo-Croat as well, let us know, and let us know what mushrooms you're eating. Hola, todos to New Jersey this morning. New Jersey. Good morning. Was that right, Gene? Was that a good New Jersey accent? Probably not. And Moaz is here. I've already said good morning to Moaz. Yes, I did. And bon dia to OLP. But you could have 2 this morning. Morning, Moaz. How you doing? 3 for you. OLP, Victoria Benson. See, I'm reading your news and comments to each other. Uplifting news, please. Sorry, it's Consumer Tuesday. Consumer Tuesday consumed a fantastic. Here we go. All right. This will work. Consumed a fantastic bacalhau brush last night, working my way through the 365 bacalhau recipes. Good work. Is there an Instagram account of the same name? Bacalhau 365. I'd subscribe. Coach Turner's here. And leave your articles out, Moaz, Joao, if you're saying. Heading towards the Silver Coast of the future. Boom! Yes, excellent news. And Pam, the aforementioned Pam, is here. Bon dia, feliz dia de mulher. So thank you, Pam. I put your poster up earlier on in case you weren't here. Jim's also in this morning. How you doing, Jim? I'm just going to say hi, name check everyone who I haven't done so far. If you want to reassert a comment that I missed, do it. That's absolutely fine. If it appears at the end, it's going to be easier for me. Allegedly. Khailele Mlongo is here. Bon dia todos. Khailele, how are you? Great to have you here. Aminis Nota. Very good. Very good indeed. I like that. I'm so tempted to read your comments to each other, but I'm going to resist. Otherwise, we'll be here for 3 hours. Cold in Portugal. It's -1 here in Leeds. I am not complaining, V. Still wearing a mask, I see. Bon dia from a rainy Porto. And Scott in Porto, PT. You always remind me of Brad Blanton when I see that picture. You're a much more handsome and younger version of Brad Blanton, but if you search for Brad Blanton, you may see what I mean. And we are the International Women. And how is this celebrated? We will need to bring the festivities to the Moonlight Meetup this afternoon. Yes, there's one thing. So International Women's Day. Call it, women. What do you want to say? What do you want to do here today? Yes, 68. What's that? Okay, that's something else I've missed there. 80% of abusers in the US come from abusive families and childhood. Yes, and so as well as handcuffing those gentlemen to the radiator and giving him a few punches, which wasn't the most constructive and helpful thing for me to say this morning, education, right? We need to break this terrible cycle, and it will be done through education, won't it? And it will be done from men owning up to having these urges and then getting help with it, I suspect. Difficult territory, but what else are we going to do? Lots of museums and national monuments have free entry for women today and lots of special meals in restaurants. Very good. Safety, respect, equity. And I think, I'm hoping we take a lot of these things for granted, but it's always worth having a self-conscious look, isn't it? Just to check yourself with these things. Violence begets violence. I know, James. We need to figure out how to stop the cycle of inheriting the behavior passed on to us, resolve the pain and trauma. That is the right answer. Okay, Sam Nazare also here this morning. Happy International Men's Day for November 19, which gets little to no recognition. Okay, come back on November the 19th. What's that? Misandry. Okay. So, Sam, do come back on November the 19th. We don't need to have it as either or. We can do both here. We're always up for a celebration here. Hold on. Islington, King's Cross. Okay, travel plans to the UK. Bon dia, Alegria Gumpers from Cindy B. Good bon dia and happy International Women's Day to you, Cindy. Carlos M is here. Bon dia todos as well. And Maxine. Is this the Tuesday program? Yes, you're in the right place. Some people do sit and watch old episodes thinking they're watching a live show. And sometimes I watch the whole thing thinking it's been a live show and wondering why we haven't read any of their comments out. Bless you, if that's you. The train into... Okay, so more person-to-person info. Chris Smith. I heard Christmas when you said Chris Smith. Not the first time I've heard that. Lol from Chris there. And Primo is cousin. Okay, thank you. Oh, cousins. Of course it is. Cousins from 400,000 years ago. I will be picking the Lassa plant today for International Women's Day, so it's a win-win. Lee McGrady on International Women's Day, of course, but also Consumer Tuesday. Lee and the Man Cavers have started a business forum. Lee, feel free, if you're open to people joining that, the men of the Man Cave getting together. And it's here on International Women's Day. It's they happen to be men in the man cave, as the name suggests. The ladies didn't get it together. We gave them enough chances, and there was always that special incentive of me wearing a gold mankini. Maybe that's what stopped it, actually. But I was going to wear a gold mankini to officially open the lady cave. Again, choose your words more carefully, Carl. It's a man cave. It's men who do it. They're gathering on a Friday, and they have started a business forum. And Lee may well put the details in for that, or just drop me a line if you want to be part of that. Expats and locals getting together to help each out with a bit of business networking. Great idea. Pete Bleach also here. So a quick look at this. Had a lovely day yesterday with Andy and Margarita and Alpha, whose picture you saw, and the amazingly exciting news that our friends have ostriches. What a Monday indeed. So yes, Alpha is Alpha dog here. And I was asking the question about owners and their dogs and the striking resemblance that you can have. Just do that for you again one more time. Given that Pete mentioned Andy and Alpha, and of course, Margarita, I learned that I live right in the middle of an area that has the largest concentration of Portuguese oak in the country. It's a beautiful landscape interspersed with olive groves and vineyards, a photograph around every corner. Central Portugal, Alviagra, how fantastic. Brilliant. Cheers, Gary. I'd send more of those photos then, please, if you wouldn't mind. Big Boy Crypto Pants, whose identity we tried to rumble yesterday. Didn't work, did it? I'm coming to Portugal via Porto next week and need a place to stay. Any advice, preferably between Porto and Lisboa? That's quite a big area. My favourite recommendation, if you want to stay in Lisboa, is to stay in Cacilhas in an Airbnb in Cacilhas and Almada. On the other side of the water, you get the beautiful view and you can jump on the ferry in the morning and be in Lisboa in the trendy Caixa de Sodré and Time Out Market in about 15 minutes. It's fantastic. That's my recommendation. Anyway, anything else for Big Boy Crypto Pants, please? Bon dia, everyone. Must call after lunch. What does that mean? If I need to call you, do I, Kate, or are you going to call me? Base Orbit and Suara here. Any recommendations for a seafood restaurant in Ericeira? James, can you help with that? We also have a Roman settlement in the valley. And who doesn't like a Roman settlement in the morning? That is as yet unexcavated, but it is rumored to be larger than Condeixa. That's amazing, Gary. Do you sneak in there with your dustpan and brush and have a little look for mosaics, I wonder? Shout out to Molly then from Quinta Fonda Pipa on YouTube, who is offering translation services, which you are using today. So there you go, Molly. Contact her through the channel or us for details there. Nice shout out for a local business. And who doesn't like uplifting news in the morning? Well, you're quite right, and we've got some for you. We've got uplifting news for those searching for a D7 visa and needing the appropriate insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, may I share with you now, for your visual and auditory pleasure, Mr. Nuno Mendes from Winsurance. How about that for an entrance? We can't hear you. Only visual pleasure, not auditory. We've got no sound. He's a good-looking fella. We'll just feast our eyes on him for a moment while he gets his sound sorted out.
Oh, so sorry.
You're just teasing us. I know you're just teasing us like that, Nuno.
Yes, because you just freeze my mind with the presenting me like if I am a rocking star or something like that.
Well, isn't it? Don't they say this about you in the insurance industry, that you've turned insurance into the new rock and roll?
No.
Well, if anyone can, you can, my friend. So what's this?
I'm here talking with you, but usually I like to be the second in command or the gray guy, so nobody knows about him, but he's always there. So this is much more my profile rather than the showman.
That's the thing. Well, to me, you're always the showman on here, and you bring such wonderful pictures with you as well. You sent them ahead, and I'm getting them ready now to share with people. You were in Almorol over the weekend, is that right?
Yeah, no, only Sunday.
So just one day there. Okay,
yes,
tell us about this amazing place, if you will.
Well, Almorol, the castle of Almorol stays very near a wonderful village just across the River Tejo, which is Vila Nova da Barquinha. So it's part of the Ribatejo place of Portugal.
Yep.
And also it's known because it's very near some facilities of the Portuguese army, of the special forces, which is Tancos.
Okay.
Maybe.
You seem to have frozen up there. But that's going to give me a chance to bring these amazing images up of Almorol Castle. These are superb that Nuno sent in to us, and I'm going to just put them up on the screen right about now. You've frozen up a bit there, Nuno.
Yes.
But these are absolutely extraordinary. Look at this. I can see why the special forces want to train in this area. They probably like getting in the water, don't they? And assaulting the castle, that's quite a good exercise, isn't it? You've got to go and get that flag. Go! And some beautiful.
Actually, the castle is in the command or under the Portuguese army, but they allow people to visit the castle.
Okay, all right. And you did. I mean, there's beautiful views from the castle there. Quite incredible.
Yes.
Photograph and looking down onto the water there. How did you get up there? Have you shimmied up a flagpole or something there?
Climbing. There's no elevator.
Wow, that's an extraordinary picture. That's really beautiful. So Almorol Castle, I'll put in the spelling of Almorol, and so you can see this. Head to the Ribatejo area of Portugal for this.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I mean, some people do. I have heard of people walking across the river at low tide or at times of drought, such as we have now, and to get into the castle. A woman told me that once, that's what she did. But this is absolutely stunning. And there's another view looking down at the ancient wooden floorboards and staircases and so on, which were probably a feature added later on, but still very beautiful.
It's a castle of the Templary time. So it's a castle with more than 800 years.
Right, and part of the Templar history then of Portugal, because they were remarkable.
Exactly.
They were a remarkable bunch of people, and as I understand it, they held a place between the church and the royalty, such that they were kind of feared a little bit, and ultimately undone by the French, I believe, by the French royalty.
But I don't know if they are under the French royalty. What I know is that they achieve so much power across Europe
Yeah.
that the kings across Europe want to put them away. Also, the church. So
Yes.
they are afraid from the Templary.
Yes. Yeah. The royalty didn't like it, and I don't think anyone else powerful at the time liked it. So
Correct.
they dispatched them. Yes. Will we ever learn? I wonder, us human beings, when it comes to power play of this kind. Oh, so there you were in Almirol then. Quite amazing. I recommend it. Where is the nearest big town that people might know? Would that be Santarém?
The big town, maybe Tomar. I don't know.
Tomorrow. Okay. All right. So not far. Not
Between
too far.
Tomar and Santarém, yes.
Okay. So
But maybe
you could do a Templars tour, couldn't you? Go to Tomar and also to Almirol Castle and get an amazing
yes,
feel.
yes, definitely.
Atmosphere. Talking of recommending businesses, if you're feeling like a bit of a treat, stay at the Templarios Hotel in Tomar, right in the center of town. Lovely place, really great atmosphere at that hotel. So you're here this morning, Nuno, to show us those lovely pictures and, of course, to talk about this new insurance product, service, incoming and welcome. I think you've solved the problem for people who are coming to Portugal on the D7 visa. Am I right?
I believe so, because until 3 weeks ago, I just solved the health insurance issue, and then had recommended to people that buy the repatriation covered through a travel insurance on the country where they are or where they are coming from, because the solution that we have in Portugal is too expensive. And thinking in the service and in the good sense, I just tell people that buy this insurance on the countries. Meanwhile, we had lucky. I'd like to put the thinking in this way: who had lucky and the reputation that allow us to do a tailor-made product that complies with the CEF and embassies requirements.
Perfect.
Regarding the repatriation and the emergency medical expenses.
Okay.
So we had a Portuguese insurance, because there are some options internationally, but are call centers outside Portugal without a specific network of providers to help in the case of the medical assistance. And this insurance is a Portuguese one, is very well spread across Portugal regarding the medical network, and it's cheap and complies with the requirements of the Portuguese government regarding the visas.
Amazing. Okay. And is it case specific, or have you come to a single price?
Sorry, I don't understand.
Is there a universal price for it, or is it, or do you need to get a quote and it's done on a personal?
No, it depends of the period of the stay. So okay, you can buy for 120 days, 180 days. Usually, those are the two periods most common. Okay. Also, usually travel insurances had a problem regarding the age, which has usually a maximum of 75 years old. With this product, we have no limitation regarding the age. So
that's really good. That's very helpful for people, because that's a worry, isn't it?
Yes. So it's another thing that are struggling on when we are searching for a solution. Let me just clarify that this is not a travel insurance, okay? Because here we don't have the usual coverage of luggage and tickets and so on. So this is specific according the CEF and the Portuguese government requirements regarding to obtain the visa. Actually, this is a product that usually is known as incoming insurance. Okay?
Incoming insurance. Okay. Hence the description here. Incoming and welcome there.
Yes.
And so anyone who's excited about this, and they should be, because it's going to save a whole lot of hassle and heartache and stress potentially. And it sounds like it's quite competitively priced. Should get in touch with you at winsurance.pt?
Yes, or through email. I am safe at winsurance.pt.
I am safe at winsurance.pt, which I will also put in the comments as well. So I am safe. So this is great. You've responded. Thank you so much. You've responded to a very real consumer issue here. People coming to Portugal with the D7 visa and worrying about whether this insurance works with that insurance and whether they'll be covered. You've nailed it.
Yes. It's something that we are struggling with since last year. And it's very difficult to find a solution, and that's why this is a tailor-made solution for this specific need.
Yeah.
Of foreigners.
So what's next then, Nuno? What else are you seeing in this marketplace where people are struggling and might need a little bit of help?
Regarding new covers or products?
Yeah, absolutely. In the insurance world,
we are working on one solution that I believe that will cover all the personal needs regarding healthcare or health assistance. But let me save this for next week.
Oh, you rascal! Okay, but
yes, please.
More innovation to come. That's fantastic. But that's the way to do this, isn't it? To see what the needs of the customers are and then adapt. And I'm so delighted that you take that approach and that you're offering that service for our community here. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for also for the opportunity, because usually brokers act like quoters. So how much?
Mate, and you say you're not rock and roll. You say you're not rock and roll, but I think you're a disruptor of this industry. And
my team. Maybe my team.
You're like a rapper who comes out and say, "You brokers, you're quotas, you're not brokers." You're sticking it to the insurance man here. I'm loving it. Okay, so we've got a question for you. There's another insurance issue, and that is car or vehicle insurance during matriculation. So here's something. You're giving a nod of acknowledgement there.
Yeah.
Old has expired and new can't be gotten due to not having Portuguese plates yet. What does Matty do in this situation?
Yes, it becomes it's a huge problem, because the IMT, which is the organization that matriculates vehicles, they are delaying a lot with those process of changing car plates. So we are in a gray zone, because insurers only can insure Portuguese plates. Okay. So yes, we have a problem, and this is because this is something that stays in the legal domain. There's no way of achieving a solution.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I mean, basically, it needs to be kept off the road, then, doesn't it? It's got to be on a trailer, so it's not.
Yes.
All right.
That's right.
Okay, let's have a look, see if we've got any more questions and comments this morning. It is, of course, International Women's Day, and two of Pam's favourite Portuguese women are the Health Minister, Marta Temido, and Head of DGS, Graça Freitas. That's a controversial selection, I think. Graça Freitas, whose handling of the pandemic, especially in the early days, was very human and reassuring. But fair play. We're not going to be questioning that on this special day, International Women's Day. Do you have any nominations, Nuno, yourself there for outstanding Portuguese women that our expat community here might not be familiar with?
Definitely.
Go on.
My daughter, my
Your
wife,
daughter.
my mother.
Yes, well said, sir. Fantastic. Of course, of course. Well said. Shout out, big up to all the mums, the grandmas, the daughters, the sisters, the aunties, all of you wonderful women here in Portugal today. And yes, of
But,
course, as well, the negative
but
stuff I started with. Celebration of women today. Go on, Nuno.
yes, but let me say that for me, this is very diminished
Yeah.
having a Women's Day, because
Yes.
for me, don't make sense at all.
I understand.
Because all the days are for women and men. So,
Yes, and I'm
but
sure
well,
there'll be.
now we have the cat day, the I don't know, the
Yes,
laptop
well,
day, and Women's Day, and
laptop day, yes. International Mobile Phone Recharging Day. Yes, exactly. I see what you mean. I see what you're getting at there.
it's not like Christmas, but please treat women all day of the year as they deserve.
Yes,
So
absolutely right. I mean, and that's the I have been in trouble for this before myself, because I agree with you, and that's not to take anything away at all on International Women's Day. Shout out to all the women today and every day, as far as we're concerned. And I think I said it on Facebook or on a radio show I did before. You know, why do we need this? It says something about us as humans that we have to have this one day. And I suppose that is the point, isn't it? That is the whole point, is that the reason we do this is because we still have to bring attention to certain issues. So I'm sure we can see it from all sides here. I hope we're not a binary, polar, divisive community, and we can see all those points of view here. But result is we're celebrating today, International Women's Day, celebrating all the women, and Sister Sledge, of course. When it comes to, there's some amazing women to celebrate in the jazz funk world, that's for sure, including the queen of my soul, Shaka Khan. But anyway, hola, expats Portugal. Behold, I am the keeper of the likes, and I wish you all I am the keeper of the likes. It sounds like Game of Thrones here, and I wish you all bon dia. Jazz funk faz de dia, Sister Sledge. He's the greatest dancer. Enjoy. While you hit the like button, and I'm going to add Angel by Shaka Khan. If you don't know it, play that. So full of Shaka's soulfulness and really, to me, the depth and beauty of woman there. But that's a very personal view. Bom dia, Portugal, from Diogo. Feliz Novo Dia. Happy New Day. Thank you for that, Diogo. Great to have you here. And Matty, Business Forum. I think I might have missed that info. We might get Lee on the phone. We might give him a ring and see if after Sarah's been on, we might give Lee a buzz and see if he wants to talk about that on the blower there. And let's remember to celebrate our strong Bayard slug wrestler today. The women of Dr. Bayard. I replenished my supply only yesterday. Thank you for that shout out to the women of Dr. Bayard. I think we should have a trip to the Bayard's factory. I wonder if they let people in there, and I wonder where it is. I think you told us before, didn't you, Eusebio? I think maybe up in Porto. Thanks for advice, Carl. Hired a car, so very flexible. Yes, okay, well, that's what I always used to do until the prices went up crazy during the pandemic. But I'm glad that's working for you, big boy crypto pants. But you're loaded anyway with all that crypto gain, aren't you? Okay, so between Porto and Lisboa is Coimbra for a change, or Aveiro looks amazingly sweet, though I've never been. Yeah, Aveiro, certainly. In Lisboa, the Alfama area is super fun and quaint. So big boy crypto pants. So much to choose from between Porto and Lisboa. What would you recommend, Nuno? He wants somewhere to stay. He or she, we don't even know. It could be a woman, big boy crypto pants.
Between Porto and Lisboa, a place,
yes,
a location?
Yeah. Yes, it's quite a lot. There's a lot to choose from there, right?
No idea, but Ericeira, it's a wonderful village.
Okay.
Near the sea, Ericeira.
Yes. Well,
São Martinho do Porto, definitely, but I believe that you know that.
Yeah, if you come on Wednesday, look, you can come and meet a few others between 1 and 3 on the Silver Coast weekly meetup, and you'll be able to see that bay there. How about that? You'll get that view, big boy crypto pants. Will you be wearing one of those masks as well that V is wearing? But you know, once you get to know us, you might want to take that off and network and hang out a little bit with the expats on the Silver Coast there. Yes, you're right. Ericeira, best seafood restaurant, because we were looking for a recommendation as well, is Marisqueira do Ribamar. Tell Nuno. Is that? Do you know this one, Nuno?
I know Ribamar. I'm not sure that I know the restaurant called Marisqueira de Ribamar, but I know Ribamar and 2 or 3 restaurants there. But in Ericeira itself, there are a restaurant just he's constructed under the rocks, and so it's I don't know, 6 meters or 10 meters from the sea. And when the sea is hard with waves, the waves hit there. We are in the restaurant. How called this? I'm not. I don't remember the name of this restaurant, but it's very near the hotel of Ericeira.
Okay, all right. I think if you go looking for a restaurant that might be splashed with waves, that will cut down the selection a little.
Well, I'm going now.
It's gonna look.
Searching,
Okay.
searching very very quickly, and I
think
tell you the name of the restaurant.
Good on you, mate. Gonna try some surfing today around 12 noon at Foz de Lisandro at Ericeira, but we'd love to dine out with you, João, and Banana Slow. So there you go, a bit of a meet. What's it called?
Furnas.
Furnas. Okay, how do we spell that? Can you put it in the comments? Oh, good man, you've got it sent it. Oh, you've done it already. So at Furnas, does that mean as in fire? Furnas?
No,
like a furnace. Maybe not.
I think not.
That's in the comments now for everybody. Hold on, I think we've got a little bit of this today. Oh dear, oh dear. I didn't know what misandry was. It's only misandry, isn't it? This is the counterpart of misogyny, isn't it? Why do some men insist that taking 1 day in 365 to focus on women's issues is somehow misandry? It's perfectly possible to raise women and men's issues without treating them as being in competition. Indeed, that's part of the problem, isn't it? There you go, misandry. I didn't know that, and I don't think I even want to know that, quite frankly. Let's celebrate it all here without it being at anyone else's expense. Okay, so we've recommended restaurants as well. In amongst all of that, we tackle everything here. We go back 400,000 years, and we tackle the biggest political issues, and we recommend seafood restaurants here on Consumer Tuesday on the Good Morning Portugal live stream from Expats Portugal with Nuno Mendes from Winsurance this morning. Making insurance the new rock and roll. Morning numbers from Owen. Mate, who needs insurance? When you go, you will go more lightly. Happy New Day. Enjoy it. Well, sometimes you do need insurance, Diogo. I mean, you know, I think Nuno would be the first person to say he'd love to live in a world without insurance, but we need it. Yes. And you need it for the D7, and you need it at other times as well. And who better to do it than our mate Nuno here. Okay, another favourite Portuguese women, Catarina Martins, national coordinator of Bloco Esquerda, keeping fascists in check and pushing human rights in Portugal. It's not political at all, International Women's Day. Morning, Owen, mate. Bovril on bagels. What a brekkie. How are you? Who doesn't like Bovril on their bagels in the morning? How are you?
Oh,
lovely guy. Drone. I think that wasn't... It wasn't a drone picture, was it? I think V is talking about that shot that you took looking down on the castle. Now, let's bring it back onto the screen because it's quite an amazing picture. Is that a drone picture or did you go up somewhere?
No. It's from my mobile phone.
What? And you walked up the top of the castle and took that with your own hand?
Exactly. Right, right.
Scary stuff. Okay. But you're a scout. You're not scared of things like that. Okay. All right. So people setting up meetings. This is fantastic. Wow, what a fabulous castle. Got to go. Thanks, Nuno. Absolutely right. You got to go. What was the name? So we've got the spelling of that. I think someone else has put that in. But yeah, Tamar, Maria's here. Today on Women's Day at the Convent of Christ is offering a free tour of the input of women in the time of the Templars. Get over to Tamar today. Mama, it's the Almoral Castle. There you go. That's what you need. How about that? Have you sent me that as well? Castello de Almorol. Okay, so we've got different spellings. As you might expect. But we have got...
No, but
Go on, Nuno.
Almoral, it's O-U.
O-U. Okay, so...
A-L-M-O-U-R-O-L.
Okay, I'm going to put that in ultimately. Let's go through a few more comments and see if we've got any more questions before we leave you today or before you leave us. So, Zay, Espiritu Santo, good morning to all. Good morning to you as well. A few drinks. It would be wonderful to get together. Are you free this evening? How about that? Jim's here. Bon dia, Gumpers. Movers packed up the house yesterday. Delivery in Tavira scheduled for the 21st. Nice. We will depart Germany this Saturday morning and taking a nice leisurely drive to Tavira. Oh, please send pictures if you remember. What a lovely road trip that's going to be. That's fantastic. Big boy, Crypto Pants, loving your insurance solution there, I think. And what's this? Oh, look for Khadija Anderson. Okay. So that you can get to the real person past all the monikers on the forums and platforms. Do you do travel insurance, though? Asks Viv Lai, including lost luggage, damaged luggage, flight delays, etc. So have you got that product as well, or would you recommend?
Yeah,
You do.
Yes, in several. Yes, we have it.
Okay, so winsurance.pt for that. So I have to use Portuguese insurance for my car, or can I use my current insurance company? What's the situation there, Nuno?
It depends on how long are you staying in Portugal. If you are just traveling from France, United Kingdom, Spain, and you are here, I believe the maximum is 90 days. I don't know if it's 90 or 180 days, but there is a period of time that you can be here with your driving in Portugal. Also, you need to check on your insurer, with your insurer, if there is a limitation of period abroad your country.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. There you go, Jim. It's interesting. Everyone has a birthday, but we celebrate ourselves one day a year. Some of us celebrate ourselves every day of the year. But I get your point there. OLP, is it a solution to use your credit card insurance, possibly, Matty? You might want to talk to each other about that and the specifics there. Well, if there was no inequality, perhaps we wouldn't need this date. Indeed. RESPCT coming in from OLP as well. That's how we roll here, right? As I said, okay, that's the lunch date that's occurring in Ericeira. Very good. What I meant was we all deserve to be celebrated every day, but generally we focus on one day, usually being our birthday. Yeah, I suppose it would get a bit tiresome, wouldn't it, if you kept saying, well, I know it's my birthday in December, but I would like to be celebrated today as well, and tomorrow, and yesterday, and every day. Yeah, I get your point. Very good. Thank you very much for that. Women's Day is needed for developing countries where still equality is not existing. Globally as well, women scientists are less in number and salaries are lower for women doing the same job. On it goes. Absolutely. Thank you for that input, Raj. Nuno, I have house insurance through you. I paid for a year. Will it automatically renew, or will I get a bill from you? Satisfied customer here, wanting to know what happens next.
Both. Thank you for the question. The insurance automatically renew, and you will receive documentation advising for the renewal.
Ah, very good. Okay, so there's no escape. We choose a day to notice and remember to celebrate. Oh, I should say as well, you are our guest on the webinar. So if when Nuno leaves, which will be soon now, because Sarah's going to be joining us soon, it's not like I'm trying to keep them apart or anything, but Nuno will be our guest on the webinar on Thursday evening. So if there's anything you forget to ask this morning and you want to have a bit more of a deeper dive, to use the dread phrase, join us on Thursday night. We'll be saying more about this and anything to do with health insurance, basically, in Portugal. So looking forward to talking to you in greater depth this coming Thursday evening. Oh, look at this. Has this ever happened to you? Just got a call from the Tesla mechanic. He will be here in 20. So I'll have to, hopefully that doesn't happen too often. But obviously when it does, they actually give you a personal phone call. Check you out, you Tesla owners, honestly. All advice, welcome there for Big Boy Crypto Pants. Nice one. And this was the restaurant. Nuno's recommendation of a restaurant in Ericeira would be Furnas. There. Okay. We should also post comments after the show is over. It will help with the YouTube algorithm. Yes, go ahead. We're nearly there, folks. 10,000 subscribers. We're nearly up to 10,000 on the community. It's going to happen any moment now. Over on Expats Portugal, in the community as a whole, 10,000 people. And 10,000 subscribers, just about nearly getting there on YouTube as well. What an amazing community we are. You are. This is amazing. William's here. Good morning. Bon dia, Carl. I have loved the warmth of not only the country, but especially the people. What a lovely comment to hear as well about Portugal. I'm assuming he's talking about Portugal. He did drive through Spain as well. I think he's talking about Portugal there. And of course, Nunu's affiliations are split here. I think a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Portuguese ancestry there. And Castilla de Almorol there. That is the name of the castle to check out. And a final comment then possibly for you here. Remember, anything else we've forgotten to ask Nunu, bring it on Thursday. Nunu, you have a nice, cheerful personality. It's always nice to buy insurance from a smiling face. It's a new rock and roll, folks. We're gonna go from insurance rock and roll to currency rock and roll in a minute. You mark my words. Nuno, anything you want to say before we say ciao for the moment, at least?
Just saying that I'm a little bit lost. Rock and roll, man. Ben Stiller, Bear Grylls. I don't know what comes next. So,
well, find out. Tune in on Thursday to find out. You will be there. Nuno, thanks so much. See you soon.
Bye bye.
Congratulations.
Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Fantastic. Great new product, great new service. Nuno of Winsurance.pt. Ciao for now. There he goes. There we go. There's Nuno. Gosh, so exciting this morning. Who knew? Talking about insurance and currency could be so it's exciting. I have to calm down a bit here this morning. I think we'll go to some nature pictures, which Sarah Davey, who's here now from Spartan FX, sent in. Sarah, these lovely pictures. Thank you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you.
I was thinking, why is Sarah sending me pictures of squirrels on WhatsApp? Okay, and you know, sometimes it's like that, isn't it? Sometimes the pictures come before the email, and that's what happened yesterday. So
It was, yeah.
This is. Oh, look, squirrel eating, having a little bit of breakfast or something. There's a close up. And those squirrels, if anything to eat, they'll find it, won't they? The squirrels. And that's a fantastic one, isn't it? That's like, but it's fisheye lens of that. What is that? A part? Is that a quiet part?
I don't know, to be honest. If anybody knows, the in-laws thought it was maybe a French partridge or something like that. Maybe, yes. I don't know.
It's one of the partridge family, not David Cassidy. And there's a magpie there as well. And some, what are these? These are muntjac.
Yeah, they're deer. So my friend, I suppose we all need something a little bit positive at the moment in our lives. And my friend's garden has lots of wildlife. So she set up a camera. It's quite ingenious. You can get an app and then you can share it with people so other people can see. So I'd never seen deer like this before, but it is a breed of deer. That's the male. They have horns.
Wow.
But yeah, absolutely. So just a little bit of a highlight of the day, just a bit of a break from everything that's going on. Just have a look and see the animals in the garden. So that's nice.
Indeed. Quite incredible though. So where are they though? Where did these pictures come from?
They live near Reading, actually. It's in the garden. I think the way their garden is, it's sort of the next section is like an open field, obviously woodland, and they've got a gap in their gate, in their fence, and the wildlife's coming through. So, yeah.
Reading, England.
Yes.
Reading, Berkshire, the Royal County.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know there were muntjac, are they called? I didn't know there were deer. I thought this was North America. This is quite extraordinary, and the bird life looks pretty exotic too, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, this is not, I wouldn't say traditional English garden. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before.
That's incredible. So and you say you can watch in real time once this is set up. She's not just sending you the pictures. You can watch.
It's fascinating. You can watch in real time. You can watch live, and then it also, the app sends you notifications, which will tell you when there's any activity in the garden, and you can actually look. So obviously, otherwise you can be sat all day looking at it. You can look back, and what's really good about the app is that even though it notifies you and you see a picture of what was in the garden at the time, you can press on it and it'll actually show you sort of a recording of it there in the garden. So it's quite
what a time we live in when you're able to do that. So, and as I think you alluded to there, extremes. On the one hand, you can be looking at the beauty of a Reading garden, and then you can switch on the news and you could be utterly terrified by world events. It's an amazing time we're living in, isn't it? And this is having quite an effect, obviously, on currencies at the moment. So what's going on? What is this conflict creating in the currency world?
Absolutely. I think it has taken the market sort of, well, by surprise. I think we were all perhaps a bit too optimistic, hoping that it could have been resolved at the end of the day, but obviously it didn't, and Russia invaded Ukraine. We are seeing a lot of volatility. I think if anyone's watched any of the webinars, I normally explain what moves the market, and it's things like obviously pandemics, war, natural disasters, data coming out, and any sort of sentiment. So that's kind of people in important positions, sort of like Boris Johnson will come out and say something, or and that will move the market. Usually a lot of the stuff that does come out, the data and sentiment, we can generally predict it. A lot of stuff's generally like that is priced into the market. So unless it goes really against expectations, that's where we see more market movements. But this is, when it comes to like your pandemic and your war and conflict, nobody knows what's going to happen. We don't know how long it's going to go on for. So it does cause a lot of volatility. And we have seen that, which actually some positive. I mean, obviously our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine, but certainly from the currency side of things, it is actually really good for Expats Portugal members, anyone that's moving to Portugal, across the board against, if you've got pounds and you're in the UK, if you've got Australian dollars, if you've got Canadian dollars, if you've got US dollars, everything against the euro, it is cheaper to buy your euros at the moment. The thing is that usually for like US dollar, for example, is seen as a safe haven currency. So when there's any sort of things like this, people will invest in the US dollar, which is obviously what's strengthened it. The problem with this type of information, the war, nobody knows how long it's going to take, what's going to happen. So, if there is a ceasefire or there's a resolution, then all the gains that we've seen could move quite quickly, and actually you could see the rate move against you. So a lot of the times when I talk about anything that's coming up, elections, things like this, it's always best to be prepared, put yourself in a position so that you can take advantage of any rate movements. I think that's the key thing. And I thought I'd not to be too sort of data heavy, but I've got some figures. I think the other thing to bear in mind is that when you're watching the rates of exchange and thinking, oh, is it going to get better? How to really look at it is a couple of ways. Today we have dropped off slightly of the highs that we've seen, but overall we are still seeing good rates across the board. So I think the end of last week, if you were say selling sterling and buying euros, we were nearly at 6-year highs for the currency. So that's absolutely fantastic. Australian dollar, we were at 4.5-year highs against the euro. Canadian dollar, we were 5-year highs against the euro. And if you were selling US dollars, we were about 2-year highs. So still fantastic levels to be buying your currency at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then so that these desperate situations are causing these conditions, and we are all ultimately individuals trying to make our way in the world, aren't we? And I don't suppose it's going to you're not going to be making any political point by harming yourself when it comes to not buying at the best rate. So I mean that is the financial fact at the moment. It's good for people moving towards Europe and buying euros at the moment. I think you're asked. I think, have you got your crystal ball with you? Because that inevitably brings up the question, doesn't it? And this is how the human mind works, isn't it? It's like, I hate it. I hate the system we live in. Why does war and conflict make it good for me to buy euros? Okay, I do need to buy euros. It's probably best to buy them now when the rate is good. But how long will it go on for? This is the human thought process right out loud there, isn't it? What do you think the American dollar will act in the next few months? I mean, it's just too hard to say, isn't it? I mean, you use the V word, volatility. We are in extreme and difficult times. Who would dare call it at the moment?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a couple of things to consider. As I said, we have dropped slightly. So, for example, if you were selling US dollars and you were buying euros, it was a little bit cheaper yesterday, but we're now today still at the same levels as we saw last week, so you haven't seen massive drops. But for people that are in the UK and that you're buying euros, we have seen that drop off. So if you were buying 200,000 euros last week, you would have, against today, the difference is about £1,400. So that's the difference in really a day. So we're seeing that really across the board of a couple of grand difference in just a day. So that's how volatile the rates actually are. What's going to happen? There's a couple of things. I mean, short term, there's still sort of obviously interest rate announcements, and you know, whether they're going to, if anything goes against expectation, will have a little bit of an impact obviously on the rates. As I said, the reason in the changes in the rates from yesterday to today is because they were talking, Russia and Ukraine looked like they were going to be in talks. So again, anything could happen with the war. It could go on for longer. You know, we're seeing various different things in the press, some obviously, you know, real news and some fake news about obviously Ukraine maybe taking back some areas and things like that, which is obviously slightly positive. So again, it's difficult to say how the war will play out. Again, it depends, because there's a couple of things. Obviously, countries are putting in sanctions in place, which obviously are to harm Russia, but equally some of that could impact the rest of the world. You know, obviously Russia does export, you know, a lot of countries are heavily reliant on the energy and, you know, commodity exports from Russia. I mean, I think 40% of the EU's gas imports come from Russia. So there still could be more, you know, euro weakness on the back of that. It really depends how, I suppose, that impact happens in the next, I suppose, longer term. So I think that's the other thing to bear in mind. What are your time frames? So, you know, maybe in the future, 6 months, 12 months time, we could be hit more heavily by this, because you actually can see what the economic impact of this war is actually going to be on the economies. But you may need to move your money sooner. I think one of the things to bear in mind is that when you started your journey thinking about moving to Portugal, what were the rates that you were using then? What were the prices that you were getting against euros that you needed to buy? And what are they now? You'll probably find that there is a massive, you've gained greatly on that. The difference between that and now could be 5%, could be 8%. So you've probably gained a lot from just the movements recently. And, you know, are you happy with that level? That's the thing, because we had a customer who recently, he is in the UK and needed to buy Australian dollars, and he'd been holding off. Anyway, he bought last week, and unfortunately the rate for, I think the Australian dollar had moved like 10% against him, which is massive. But the problem for him is that he was trying to wait for it to improve, but he's bought some land and property and he needed to complete. So often we find that your circumstance might end up dictating when you actually need to move the money rather than the rate. So at the moment, if you haven't got a specific deadline, you're slightly a little bit more in control of that. Whereas you don't want to find that you suddenly find a property and you have to transact and maybe the rate's moved against you, but you have to take that rate. You've got no choice.
Yeah. So it really, you know, we're not giving you financial advice, are we? But you're just pointing out the situation about how things can change. And I suppose ultimately what you have to do as an individual is to figure out what you'd be happy with, right? And see the future as best you can, as in scenarios, because no one can guess, can they? But you could ask yourself the question, like, if I did it today, it would be so much. And if it drops this much, this is how much I'm going to gain or lose. What would I be happy with? I mean, you've got to put your flag in the ground somewhere, haven't you? And I suppose strategically, a sensible thing to do might be to have a chat with you guys who know about these things and open an account. And then when you're ready, I mean, we've got questions along those lines. I don't quite understand this one, Maxine. Should I bring my money to Portugal? I mean, that sounds like quite a dangerous strategy if it's in a suitcase. So tell us more, Maxine. I mean, there's a big potential loss if you're carrying cash around. I don't know if you mean, you know, electronically or physically. and looks like I could change my 250,000 into euros now, and perhaps, you know, I suppose the more money you've got and the bigger the losses or gains, the more people are concerned and worried about this and about making the right decision. So I don't know, what do you say to somebody like William? Like, have a chat and know what the scenarios are. Have a look at
Exactly. I mean, you know, we can't tell you what to do. That is your decision at the end of the day.
Yes.
But we can give you as much information and guidance on that as possible. As I said, it's getting to know our customers and your situation, you know, what money you've got available, what are your timeframes, and again, you know, as I said, what rates were you working on before? You know, have you seen a good gain? And rightly, as you said, what would you be happy with?
Yeah.
The thing to bear in mind is that opening an account with us is completely free. There's no obligation to use us, so, you know, have a chat with us. But again, it's about being prepared so that if you do want to take advantage of any rates, you're in a position to do so, because you said they can move very quickly. You don't want to find that you've decided you think, right, I'm going to do it. Set up account is easy, but, you know, it's still something to do, and then the rates moved against you. So you want to be in a position that you can take advantage.
Indeed.
The other thing as well, you might be thinking to yourself, you know, if you have got money available, but you haven't got a bank account in Portugal open, that's not a problem. We can hold your euros on account for you free of charge until you get that account open, or you want to send it to another third party.
Great, Sarah. So how long does it take when an account is opened to get the money to Spartan FX from OLP? How quickly can you turn all this around?
Very quickly. It depends. So when you buy currency with us, we buy it there and then. So even if there's a delay in your money getting to us, it doesn't matter. Your rate's secured. So you've locked into that. So don't worry about that. It depends on your bank. Some can move it very quickly. Some can take a little bit longer. But the team do have experience in that. So again, if you have a deadline, do let us know, because we will help you factor that in as well. Once we receive the money, we'll send it out. Often our payments are instant, but it depends on the bank cut-off times of that day.
Okay, thank you for that. Big boy crypto pants, always good for a pithy comment and a different view on life. The trouble is you can never buy the bottom or sell the top. So true. You know, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? And you learn a lot about yourself, I think, when making decisions of this kind. Sarah, if we have a US dollar account with you, can you turn it to euros when it drops to a certain rate? Okay, so can you pre-program it to make trades? Obviously, it could go lower, but can we set a rate ahead? I hate having my dollars in the US, so can you help with a situation like this?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, we can sort of put an order in the market. So if you're looking for a specific rate, and as soon as that rate hits, we will automatically buy for you. So we can certainly do that. And again, any rate, whether it be, you know, looking out for a higher rate, but also we can put something in and it doesn't have to automatically buy. We can notify you. So there's a bit of flexibility there. So what we can do, and I think it's always worthwhile thinking about, is, yes, I'm watching out for a favorable rate, but equally, if the market drops to this level, it's suddenly going to come too expensive for me. So we can actually put a marker in then at that lower rate, so that if that happens, we can notify you and say, look, it's moving against you. What do you want to do? It might be worth thinking about locking into that rate. So there's a bit of flexibility. It can either be we notify you, or we can automatically buy for you. So there's a bit of flexibility. The other thing that we can do is, if you don't have all of your money available, but you do want to fix the rate, we can do that with a 10% deposit. It doesn't, that's not a cost or a charge. It just fixes the rate, because we're buying all the money up front. And then when you need your money, 90% you pay us, and we'll put 100% all the euros into the account that you specify.
Very good. Okay, there you go, Rebel Mama. I'm sure that's helped. And Moaz, thank you from Moaz, Sarah Davey, obrigado, for explaining to us the financial situation during difficult times. And more specifically from Sam. Hi, Sarah. So are you saying now is a good time to convert Aussie dollars to the euro?
Yeah, so with the Australian dollar, we have dropped slightly from the highs that we saw at the end of last week. So I think last week we were at 4.5-year highs, but I think we're still at 4-year highs, so it's still a good time. So again, do speak to us. Let's find out your situation and what you're looking to do, and we can help give you guidance on that.
All right. I don't know if you can offer help on this, but it's like, yay! And then, surely the tax man in the UK will hit me considerably for transfer. How does that work? I mean, if you
you'll
change
need you'll need to speak to the taxman. So we don't speak to your taxman. We don't speak to any taxman. So we don't get involved in anything like that. We move the money. But as far as sort of holding currency or investments in various different currencies, if you move to Portugal, what tax you'll have to pay on the money, again, you'll need to speak to a tax specialist, similar to like we're a foreign exchange specialist. That's what we specialize in. You'll need to speak to your taxman about that.
Yes. So yeah, again, that's human nature, isn't it? It's like, yes, now's a great time to make that trade. I'm going to make loads of money, and then I'm going to have to pay tax on it. What's going to happen now? So for the highs and lows of moving big money around.
But I think the thing is, if you are moving to Portugal, and you will at some point think about moving savings or buying a property, at some point you're going to have to move that money. So there may be tax implications even at that point. So
that's right.
It's always worth speaking to a specialist. I did speak to someone who was in Australia the other day, and I think he was looking at actually he said for him, again, that's his words, not mine, do speak to a tax specialist. He believed he was trying to send his money now because something's going to change, I think, in Australia possibly, and he believed the sooner he can move it the better. So again, always worthwhile speaking to a specialist on that front.
Absolutely. Ask the questions, and don't bury your head or put it under your pillow like the money being talked about here. I would feel safe with my money close to me. I can understand that in one way, but don't tell us where you're putting it, Maxine, honestly.
No.
Thanks, Sarah.
What if there's a fire in your house?
Exactly. Yes. Who's that over there with their nightie on holding big wads of cash? We know who that is now. Can Spartan FX receive monthly social security payments of the US kind?
I believe we can, if it's a wire transfer, because I think, do you get some people get it paid in a check or anything? But if it's a check, then no. But bank transfer, then yes, we should be able to receive that. I think we have for some. Actually, that leads in quite nicely to another example that I've used recently. Obviously, we've talked about property, moving your savings, you can pay for your NIF. There's lots of different reasons that you can use us. The other thing is on the smaller amounts. So whether it be fixing a pension transfer, or if you're renting out your home in your home country and you're receiving some sort of rental income. So we had a customer that used us. They're still using us, but they contacted us about, I think it was about 2 years ago, when they moved to France. So it's a US couple. But again, the same principle works for if you're a US customer moving to Portugal or any citizen moving to Portugal. It's the same, principle. So they had pension and an income from a rental property that they then wanted to transfer to France. So I think the total came to about $4,000 a month. So they wanted to be able to have a solution where they get their money regularly and the rate's guaranteed. So again, takes away that fluctuations. Everybody's situation is different. So in this situation, if they need that money to live off, often it's really important that they know exactly how much they're getting. A bit like when you get a salary, it's important you know exactly what you're going to get into your account. To then suddenly find it's suddenly a little bit less. Obviously, it'd be great if it was more, but if it's less, that's obviously not ideal. So what they wanted to do was they decided that they were going to lock into the rate, while at the time it was strong. So this obviously was pre-pandemic. So what they did was they locked into the rate. Actually, no, I think it was just after. I think they locked into the rate in June 2020 at 110 for 12 months. And I think even when the rate moved up to 120 in August and 124 in December, they were still locked into the 110 rate. So I think overall, not just the money we would have saved them against their bank, for example, or a competitor. I think they saved about 3,000 to 4,000 euros in that time, just through the rate fluctuations.
Yeah.
So that's why when I'm sort of on these webinars, is that it's always worthwhile. Yes, it's important to get the rate on the day, but rate fluctuations, sometimes people don't realize how that can impact them, either on the big amounts, but also over a period of time on sort of smaller transfers as well.
Yep. Okay. Well, get chatting to Spartan FX. You can do that at spartanfx.co.uk, as you can see there. More comments coming in. Big Boy Crypto Pants has had a look, has Googled it. Oh, sorry, it wasn't that particular comment. It was another one. Just Googled Forex trading is tax-free in the UK, but Google just does tell us what we want to hear. So check that out. And as Sarah says, speak to a tax advisor who knows about these things. It's got to be the best thing to do, isn't it? But again, don't hold back, William. I mean, if you're going to be moving, you're going to be moving anyway. You might as well get a good rate rather than a poor one. Perhaps do both, not either or in this situation. And thank you very much, James, Oregonians OLP. I use my broker Schwab for my transfers to Spartan FX. It was relatively simple and easy to set up and is now almost immediate when I place my order. This is fantastic. And goes on to say, in case you haven't seen before, I love my Spartan FX family. I think coffee and cake for him when you arrive in Eddie, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Please let Neil know I said hello to him as well. We don't want Neil feeling left out. And Neil's the one coming over for coffee and cake, I think, at some time. So thank you for that from OLP. Ours is not coming from a brokerage account, but great info. I found that some banks, says James, these were kind of bulging under the weight of comments here this morning, which is a good thing, but they're slow to load up. OLP, I found that some banks, even huge international banks, didn't know who Spartan FX was or what they do, and tried to tell me they were a money launderer. Well, we know this not to be the case, and I'm sure you're very happy to speak to these banks. I mean, you phone them, don't you? Personally, I know from time to time.
Absolutely. And I would say that what we're finding and what we do tell our customers is that because of the pandemic, more and more people are doing online banking, and obviously being forced to do that with, certainly in the UK, with high street banks shutting down, and obviously with the lockdowns, you can't actually physically get into a branch. So there are more checks on third-party payments because they're cracking down on, fraud and all that sort of stuff. So often for a lot of banks, it is actually a standard process that they will do that on a lot of third-party payments. They just want to double check, especially depending on the amounts, and maybe because it's an international payment, which is different from a standard internal payment. So often a lot of that is standard process in a lot of banks now.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and just even amounts up to $10,000, isn't it? To work against laundering there, but it gets in your way. But Spartan FX are very happy to speak to your bank and make themselves known as being safe. William's saying, thank you, Sarah. It's great to have that information about transfer from UK to Portugal. And last unimportant question then, as we come up to 10 o'clock, Sarah, how is my money insured through Spartan FX there? So what sort of safety measures do you have in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So certainly from a lot of what we do needs to be regulated. So we have in the UK the FCA, and then we've got the license, the money transmitter licenses we have in every state. I think we've got it in 56 states. We can deal with if you're in Australia, if you're in Europe. So all of that in there is regulated, go through various checks. So from that perspective, you've got that sort of security. The other thing as well is from a Spartan FX perspective, it is actually slightly more secure, your money, for a couple of reasons. One, our banking partner that we work with is Currency Cloud, so you can look them up. They've just been bought by Visa. They're a massive company. They do about $2 billion a month. So they're transacting billions of dollars every month, as well as your money as well. So they are very secure. So again, we've got that security of where your money's being held. It's segregated accounts, so it's completely separate from the company assets. And the other thing to bear in mind as well is that often when your money's in the bank, similar to your bank in any of your home country, bank with Barclays Bank, so it's a tier 1 bank. I think that your money is insured up to, I think it's about 85 to 90,000 pounds, certainly in the UK. So similar to your bank in that aspect. Having said that, because of the way that the business is set up and the way that your accounts are set up, that actually should anything happen to Barclays, which is an absolutely massive bank, and would certainly, if anything happened to that, there'd be a massive problem in the country,
Yes.
but the government, I'm sure, would bail it out anyway. Is that if anything should happen, the money would go back to you first because of the way that the accounts are set up.
Okay.
If that makes sense. With
It does, yeah.
So actually slightly more secure, rather than it just being sat in a Barclays account and they would take the money, your money would come first, so it wouldn't be part of that. So it's slightly more secure in that aspect. But yes, as I said, it is in Barclays, so it would ultimately be, if anything happened to Barclays, which, you know, I'm sure they would be bailed out.
So the highest levels of existing security that any normal bank account holder would have in the UK. Thank you very much, Sarah. We are 1 minute past 10 o'clock. I don't want to keep you from other things. I think we all want to go and check those nature webcams, actually. It was so nice of you to share that with us. And James, for one, appreciated that little break into the back garden and some nature webcam there in your friend's back garden in Reading. Quite incongruous, but absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Really appreciate it.
No, that's no problem.
Before you're back next month, we want one or two of those set up in Portugal, don't we? So if we can explore that technology and show
what's typical, what animals do you get in your Portuguese back garden? What's the typical garden animal?
PTSD when I think about it, and the wild boar chasing me down the lanes of Portugal. That is what we might see on a webcam here in Portugal. It wasn't as bad as I've made it sound, but it's still pretty scary compared to a muntjac deer. Sarah, thank you so much. We're getting thanks, and we have missed some questions. I'm getting early when Sarah's here, everybody, or just give her a call. SpartanFX.co.uk is the website. Set up start the process of setting up a free account there, and give them a call via the website SpartanFX.co.uk. Have a great day, and lots of love to all the gang at the office there, Sarah.
Will do. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Lovely to speak to you today. Bye.
Bye for now. There you go. There's Sarah Davey. We are past 10 o'clock. Fantastic. Great to talk to Nuna this morning. Great to talk to Sarah. Just very quickly, quick bit of consumer news. Ryanair threatens to cancel Portugal routes this summer. A cheer of hooray goes up among tourists coming to Portugal. A little bit of news there for you. And a nice note to finish on. This in from with on Consumer Tuesday with rising fuel prices. What's this? Wine. Thanks, Pippa, for this. Wine now cheaper than fuel. Don't drink. Oh, is it drink, don't drive at the moment? I'm sure that has got to be true in Portugal, isn't it? Fuel prices rising as they are everywhere here in Portugal. I've seen people queuing up. So, yeah, why not stay close to home? Get yourself a nice Portuguese red, a nice belly-warming Portuguese red, and a heartwarming experience of sharing wine with friends and family there. Stay close to home, folks. It'll be easier on your wallet. Shout out to the women on International Women's Day at Dr. Bayard's. We want to meet you in person one of these days. Look at that. Fantastic there. And a beautiful image, one of many sent in from Victoria. We'll have to come back to these, and we'll have to call Lee on a different day when it comes to talking about the new business forum that the Man Cave fellas have set up. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about that, but isn't that lovely? A great image of a woman there on the right, one of the perforated people. I'm sure I didn't have to tell you that it was the woman on the right there, but in case I needed to, it's my pleasure. I did biology at school, you know. So there you go. I'll leave that up at the end to celebrate International Women's Day. Some great comments coming in, and the usual stuff, the usual rubbing up against each other with these ideas. When any little bit of politics, when things drift into politics, we get away, don't we, from that heartwarming realization that we might be one. We are one. and that we would like peace. And then we start thinking and disagreeing, don't we? And it all goes horribly wrong. Funny that. Good show as always. GAP, thank you very much. Big boy crypto pants. Yeah, gas nearly €2.07 a litre yesterday in the north. Stay close to home, folks. What else can I tell you? Mike Campion's in as well. Great to see you here, Mike. So we will carry on tomorrow. The Doc and the Doug in one place as we welcome Doug into his new residency. Ask anything about Portugal Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing those two fellas together. Have a great day. Do what you can to celebrate International Women's Day, and look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Ciao for now.